Asterisk 70. Asterisk 20 HOURSREMIN. The sky was dark and gray for a morning rush, the storm clouds still hovering over the land of Sapporo. Fog and mist had covered the docks during the busy time. Crowds of people were rushing towards the Sapporo docks, waves of now homeless, scared, and desperate people rushing to get to the safety of the mainland. Forcing guards back, pushing past the body count limit of ships. Everyone screamed similar things after the horde of Nomu. Let us through. Those things could come back any moment. Those heroes couldn't do anything to protect our homes. Take us to safety. Please let us get away from here. Help us. Children cried next to their parents, wondering why they couldn't return back home, parents trying to comfort their children all the same. Others looked lifeless, as if some of their family had been taken, or lost forever, the hollowness in their eyes almost contagious to those who looked into them. 4 teenagers watched from the outskirts, hoods from hoodies or cloaks over their heads with makeshift bandages around their bodies, the same hollow gleam showing in their eyes. More than the feeling of loss were in those hollow eyes, but the feeling of failure and guilt showing in their dullness. Guys, a voice called out to them. Slowly, Ochako, Bakugo, Eri, and Hima all floated down safely behind them. Put your hoods up, Todoroki said, turning towards them, along with the other 3. If they see we're trainee heroes, the people will probably riot or force us off the boat. Ochako sighed as she lifelessly put her hood up, along with Bakugo agitatedly. The group nodded in unison as they made their way towards the crowds of people in order to grab a seat on the next ferry back to the mainland home. Ochako caught the glimpses of the empty and scared eyes as they pushed through the crowds as best they could, trying to get a spot on one of the ships. Ochako felt her spirit fall even more. The faces of happiness, the people who had come to Sapporo for a happy trip, or coming to visit families. The faces of the happy people they saw when Izuku and herself first arrived on the shipping docks, were now faces of people desperately trying to get away. Through the mist, Ochako spotted the trash she had thrown up into when they had first arrived. She couldn't help but frown at the sight, remembering the circles Izuku had been making with his hand on her back to try and soothe her as she puked. He had been making fun of her with Eri when they had first arrived. She remembered being so upset. Now she could only wish he were here to tease her more. Just barely had the group made it on board the ship before the platform had started raising, denying exit to the rest of the people, screams of protest coming from below back on the docks. Ochako and the rest stared down from the crowded railings, listening to the horrors below. Don't leave US, take US with you. We can't just sit and wait for more of those things. Please, we're begging you, our kids, take them. We'll meet them there on the next boat. Just please take them. Momo put a hand to her mouth as tears rolled down her cheek. Kirishima and Mina stared down at their feet, faces unable to be seen under the hoods. Ochako stood staring down with empty eyes. The screams were surrounding her, all directed at her and her alone. Eri and Hima looked at each other as they took their hands, choosing to sit against the small wall of the boat, not wanting to get in the way of the overcrowded space. As the ship pulled away from the dock, the screams of the crowds grew quieter and quieter, though the effect on the group remained the same. They said that they're overcrowded. There aren't enough beds for everyone, so it looks like we're camping out here, Todoroki said as he pushed through the crowded deck towards the group on the rocking ship. The group nodded. Who were they to complain? They were the ones to have failed. The hours passed, and the ship had been almost silent as the waves crashed around them. Murmurs of the events passed through the crowds, only reminding the ex-students more of their failures. Even Bakugo remained silently listening to the murmurs as he rolled over on the floor, trying to block the sounds out. Well, while we're here, we might as well think of our next steps, Todoroki said quietly as he sat on the deck flooring. The rest nodded once again, all sitting in a crowded circle, only Bakugo being left out as he lay on the ground trying to sleep, the girls sitting next to him acting as guards. UA is still active. We can go back there, but we have to think of what to do if the school is shut down, Momo said blandly and quietly. Ochako nodded. The first person they'll come for is probably me since I'm in Uraraka, she said. Technically, they don't know you guys are involved. I'm sure Aizawa and the school have to answer to someone. Of course, they'll eventually find out about this little mission. Especially after we give our report. And we can't just not give our report. The information we have is just too valuable. We're gonna have to find a place to stay then, if the school does shut down. Whatever happens, we can't get taken in. We have too much to do to have our time wasted by cops questioning us. Shigaraki will be done in a few days. We have to do something. Todoroki bounced back. Maybe my dad or the school has secret bunkers we can track down. Maybe Aizawa will help us. He seemed fine with us being vigilantes with how things are these days. What places would the school have though? Mina asked, looking at the ground. I mean, Izuku and I were given that mountain house. There may be more places like that scattered around the country. And if we can't find one, then it looks like it's the streets first for the time being. Worst comes to serve, for now, we can camp at my original apartment. My parents are in Sapporo's custody right now. It'll be a while before they make it to my actual apartment back near the school. Ochako said. She still had a few more stuff to grab from her original lonely apartment before heading out. Well, first things first. To report our mission. The state of the school will determine our next moves. We'll either leave to become vigilantes, or the school will be able to help us, one or the other. If we go vigilantes, we'll go to Uraraka's apartment near school, or we find a new place to stay. Momo summed up, standing and walking towards the ends of the boat to sit next to Bakugo, out of sight and out of the mind of the people. Todoroki and the rest followed as Ochako stood. She just needed a break from everyone, and a distraction before getting seasick from the rocking of the ship. They forced her way to the front of the boat, leaning her arms against the railing. The mainland would be in view soon. She looked up at the now darkening twilight sky. Was Izuku doing well? It had been over a day since he had been kidnapped now. As horrible as this sounded, she had hoped experiments were the worst of their torture. If they wanted one for all and one for all alone, they wouldn't have need of Izuku. They could take the quirk and kill him. Could they even take one for all? Could all for one? Ochako put her face into her arms. There were too many hypotheticals to think of. What would they do to him? She just wanted him back. Wanted him home. But even if he was home, he would just have to prepare to fight Shigaraki, right? All this fear. Ochako didn't know how much more she could take. It was okay. Izuku would come back to her, or she'll find him. One or the other. That's what would happen. And nothing could stop her. As long as Aizawa and the rest take care of Shigaraki, she could focus on Izuku. She wouldn't have to worry about Shigaraki, and neither would Izuku if they got Shigaraki in the middle or whatever surgery. Hey, you doing okay? A voice asked from behind her. Ochako turned slowly to see Mina there, sadly smiling. I know you get seasick on boats like this. Yay, I guess just stress is keeping the seasick away. Just barely though, Ochako said, gripping her stomach. Mina nodded, giggling just a bit before leaning on the railing next to Ochako. I'm sorry we couldn't save him. I was completely useless. You were the one who only had the power to do something. If the rest of us were like you, we could have beat that guy. Mina said, tears growing in Mina's eyes. If I could have done more, you would still have your Izuku. Ochako's face fell, leaning over to hug her friend. No, I wasn't strong enough. Maybe if I had told Izuku what was going on, he could have been more prepared. Izuku knowing and making choices may have saved everyone. Whether Aizawa agreed with his methods or not, I'm to blame. Ochako said, hugging her friend tightly. I'll get him back though. I will. Ochako and Mina pulled away from each other, both staring with sad, determined eyes. Nothing will stop me from getting Izuku back, Ochako said, putting a hand to her heart. Nothing will stop me, no one will stop me. Suddenly, right as Ochako finished the sentence, a huge sound encased them. It was as if a jet engine had flown right past them. What was that? Mina shouted. However, now high winds. Mina and Ochako suddenly felt the ship turn. A force of wind hit the ship, people being knocked over by the winds as the water tides rise, causing the ship to almost tip. What's happening? Ochako screamed. Was it an explosion? The booming sound, the force of the wind. What explosion could have gone off? Ochako and Mina pulled themselves up as they looked over towards the darkened mainland encased in the night sky. Ochako and Mina's eyes widened. The rest of the group made their way to the front of the boat. Guys, what's going on? Kirishima asked. However, Ochako and Mina remained quiet, staring. Kirishima, Todoroki, and Bakugo eventually found what they were staring out. On the mainland, far away in the direction of a far-out city, was large purple light shining brightly, as if an explosion was going off. Guys, that's near Jakku City, right? Todoroki nodded. Yay, that's definitely where that is. That's also where Shigaraki is, you don't think? Mina asked. Shigaraki finished early. He has it, all for one. Ochako finished, the purple light reflecting in her eyes. Suddenly, another explosion somewhere else on the mainland, as if reacting to the first, erupted. Another sound and shockwave barreling past the ship. Guys, that's near UA. That explosion was green. That must be Izuku. Ochako also finished. She turned towards Bakugo, as Bakugo glanced back. One for All was reacting to All for One's appearance. So Izuku was there, near UA. This just got a lot harder. Ochako said to herself. The night sky remained dark as the two explosions could be seen glowing in the distance on Japan's mainland. One explosion green, one explosion purple. Ochako and the group watched as the explosions went off, as they made their way by ship to the mainland to report to Aizawa. Shigaraki in Jakku and Izuku somewhere in Tokyo. All for one, one for all, both now passed to the new generations. End of Arc 4. Kenlair here. Okay, this chapter actually took 2 days to write. This was a hard to write scene because it's literally moving. So here's the short version. Ochako and the group meet up with the others at the docks. Izuku and Ochako arrived first. On at the docks are a lot of desperate people trying to get to mainland Japan and off Hokkaido. Many had lost their lives, homes, and family to the Nomus that had broken out of the hospital Momo and the group had destroyed. They get on a super crowded ship that's taking them to the mainland. They first know they have to tell Aizawa about the Nomu, the hospitals, and Shigaraki. They know that if they stay, they may be arrested or they will have to stop being heroes because of the government. So they have to become vigilantes, so they plan for that. Sometime afterwards, while on the boat, the group sees 2 explosions going off. A purple one and a green one, both in seemingly different areas of Japan. Ochako can only assume that's All for One and that's one for all. Ochako assumes Shigaraki has possibly woken up early. The explosions go off as they continue to sail back to mainland Japan. Quote. Have to end the arc on a complicated chapter, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this arc. This was a long arc of setting up the pieces for these next coming arcs. We have the Nomu, we have All for One and Shigaraki, we have society starting to go off and not like heroes. World's looking like the dark place the manga is in right now. Izuku is captured, Monoma was captured, and Shigaraki has All for One. Asagiri wants Izuku, and Ochako is determined to be a vigilante to get him back. I hope you guys are ready for Arc 5. Kenny boy.